League Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is partly sunny and 84 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Duke's Real Mayo.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about good mayo, Duke's Mayo. It'll make any dish sing. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Oh, good morning, friends. How we doing? Yeah? Good? Good. So are we. 314-436-7900 is the text and phone number for KMOX. You can leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app because we require your participation. This isn't just a one-way street.
Yeah,
we expect you to be involved as well.
Listen, I don't do one-way relationships.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't be the givers all the time.
I mean,
where you're just like, you pour yourself out for these people.
Who do these people think they are? Just going to sit there and take. No,
right?
You participate.
We need stuff from you.
The Odyssey app, leave us voice messages. You just record and send them, and it is super easy to do. You can also watch us on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, or maybe all three at once. If you have multiple screens, you find us at Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everyone will be talking about.
Well, temperature is cooling off today, but cooling is relative. Still in a heat advisory until 7 o'clock tonight. Be careful out there.
Yeah, I ran this morning. It was still hot. Well, $2.9 million in FEMA funding is on its way to St. Louis to assist residents in the city who were impacted by the May 16th tornado. And in fact, Mayor Kara Spencer is giving a press conference about that money right now. We believe we will talk with Sean Malone, KMOX reporter, who's covering that press conference.
And the Cardinals started the 4-game series against the Cubs at Busch Stadium last night, and it did not go well. They dropped the opener. They'll get back at it tonight at 6:45. We got the pregame show at 5:50 on KMOX, and then the 6:45 first pitch.
But
last night it was delayed, too.
Yeah, like an 8:30.
Yeah, they got
pitch.
started about 8:30. Yeah.
But, I mean, you bring up the game today, but don't forget, it's Ollie Day.
Oh, that may be the most important thing.
Yeah.
Oliver Marmol, the manager of the Cardinals, is with us on the Gas House Gang at 12.
And I'm
so
starting
that is
the show with them to be like, Ollie, I'm so sorry.
to apologize to him for being awkward the other day, which he will not remember it at all.
I knew he wouldn't remember it, except for Steve will require him to remember it, because Steve told me yesterday that he cut the audio and he is sending that to Ollie.
He's not doing that. He's not doing it. So, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on baseball right off the top, but I think it's noteworthy. The Cardinals are in the bit of a slide right now. In the couple of weeks since the All-Star break, it's not gone particularly well for them. They've now lost 9 of 12.
That's not great.
No, it's not great. I mean, they're still here's the thing about the league, and I know we touched on this yesterday, and we've been talking about it a lot on Gas House Gang, but they happen to have the benefit of being in a league that is not particularly good. I mean, there are a couple of teams that are really good at the top, and that's true in the American League too. But in the National League, you got a couple of really good teams. The Dodgers are one of them. I think the Braves are really good. The Brewers are fantastic. So, you've got your top-heavy leagues, which kind of leaves the door open for the Cardinals to still possibly be a playoff team at the end of the year, but it will get tougher and tougher as the season goes on here. So, is this the beginning of a downfall for 2026? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It might be, or this might just be a blip, but it's not encouraging, I'll tell you that much.
No, I mean, as you mentioned, 9 of their last 12. They're 2-8 in their last 10. And in the National League, only the Marlins are worse than that. In the last 10, they're 1-9.
Yeah, that's not good. And they were playing really well not that long ago. So it might just be this way for the rest of the season. Couple of good weeks, couple of bad weeks.
Why is it? Why is it a thing that teams can play pretty well and be pretty competitive for half the season? I feel like this always happens, though. What is it about the first half where things were going so well, and then in the second half they say, well, you always regress to the mean. You always shake back down to who you really are. If you're overperforming for the first half, you won't overperform for the second.
You get tired.
Is that what it is?
I think it's you either
like what is it? Like it doesn't make any sense.
The length of the season, the grueling aspect of the season, it finally starts to wear. And so for the teams that don't have enough on the roster, which is the Cardinals, it will catch up to them.
So the lack of depth.
Yeah.
And then the fatigue and the grueling nature of it when, as Ali Marmolez said, this team needs to play almost perfect baseball to win.
They cannot afford mistakes.
Yes, but fatigue and lack of depth, injuries, or a slump will all contribute to not being able to keep the pace that they had earlier.
Yeah. And I do think I'm still holding on to this. I might, reevaluate in a couple of weeks here, but I still think that they'll be in striking distance of the playoffs in the last couple of weeks of the season. And that means maybe a couple of games out. It doesn't mean they're going to overcome it. It just means they will have an opportunity, I think, late in the year. What I'm saying is they're not going to be 10 games out of a wild card spot in the middle of September. I don't think so. I guess it's possible, but just look at these other teams around them. They're not that good.
Yeah. The Cardinals are right at 500 now.
They are 53-53 on the season. Baseball later on. We'll talk to Mark Sweeney at 10:30. He is a Cardinals analyst on Cardinals TV and a former player, and he will join us at 10:30 today.
We will also talk with Dr. F. Perry Wilson. He's the director of Clinical and Translational Research Accelerator at Yale University, and he's always got really interesting topics. He's got a podcast, Wellness, actually, with Emily Oster, and the first one, if you remember, loyal listeners, we had trouble connecting with him when we wanted to talk about
it was a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Fake knee surgeries and how the placebo effect would work with knee surgeries if you just cut people open but didn't do anything. I'm a huge believer in the placebo effect. If you told me that if I wore a purple hat running a marathon, like, Amy, I can guarantee you will run faster in this purple hat, and I believed it, I'd do it. I mean, I think because so much of life, not all of it, but a lot of it is mental, and I think that is why. I don't know if you guys have this. Well, I know Ranj. Maybe Ranj does. Matt does not have this, but he knows we do. And that is if you're feeling perfectly fine, and then you are hanging out with someone and find out that they were sick, you will start to feel sick. If I'm hanging out,
sympathy illness,
or just the fear, like, oh no, I'm gonna get it. Like if I'm feeling totally fine today, and you and Matt go home, like, oh man, we've got the flu, I will start going, I think I've got it too. I will convince myself I have it.
Yeah, I think that that's an emotional thing. And clearly you have a problem.
It's like the placebo. It's like the anti-placebo.
It is.
I'm sure you've got it too. You can convince yourself anything.
That's right.
Also, we've been talking about the upcoming August 4th election and how nobody votes in primaries. Would love to hear from you. 314-436-7900. If you plan on voting or if you've already voted with early voting. The one thing I've noticed in the past week or two, I feel like I've seen more yard signs regarding Amendment 4, Amendment 5.
Really?
And different, candidates.
I haven't seen a whole lot of yard signs.
Yeah, I've seen more and more the past 2 weeks. I wonder how many people will be getting involved in the primaries, as Hancock and Kelly said. The primaries here and in a lot of places really are the election. Because you know what's staying blue.
Because it's not going to be competitive,
and you know what's
in the
staying
general,
red. Yep. Roll call. Greg checks in on the text line.
Greg.
Hey, Greg. Is it because you have gray hair? Or are you unwell?
He didn't say yellow, Greg.
No, that would be jaundice.
Jaundice, right.
But
which would be bad.
you look a
You'd have
little
some liver failure.
Yeah, but you could look gray if like white ashen. If maybe you have blood pressure issues and just the blood's draining from your face. Maybe he's going to pass out.
Well, Greg, we hope that you are okay. We're worried sick about you. We love you, and we thank you for checking in on the text line.
Yeah.
This other texter says the problem, and they are referring to the Cardinals, will be that 5 other teams trying to get in there at the same time. And they're talking about the playoffs. It's a long season, so it's hard to be fresh day in, day out. Partly physical, maybe a lot mental. And I think that pretty much encapsulates what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, they've been pitching relatively well. I mean, they gave up 7 runs last night. So that was not their best pitching performance lately. But coming out of the All-Star break, the team ERA had been respectable. And they were struggling to score runs. And they still kind of are struggling to score runs. So hopefully that will pick up because there is time. There is time, and they are not out of it or anything like that. They're just a game and a half out of a wild card spot. And yeah, there are a couple of teams in front of them. So I still think this will be an interesting rest of the season. And the trade deadline is less than a week away. Are they going to trade guys off the roster? The more this goes on, I don't see them acquiring anybody significant. Maybe they pick up a reliever to help take the load off. But I think it's more likely they trade away than acquire.
There you go.
So there it is. That's the Chris and Amy Show. And we, of course, always want to hear from you at 314-436-7900. Dave Simons will join us at 10. We're going to talk American economy with him. That is happening, and the Fed is meeting today. What's going to happen with interest rates? I think we are all curious about that. Dave Simons will tell us at 10 on KMOX.
All right. Well, actually, speaking of pests, I have a pest in my house right now that we're going to get into.
It's a bird.
It's become a pest, and I feel terrible about it. We'll get into that. But Rottler Pest Solutions, that's who I need to call. They're a family-owned and operated pest control company. They have proudly been serving Missouri and surrounding areas since 1956. And they've really built a reputation for personal service and proactive solutions, meaning when they come to your house and they do that free inspection, they'll look at whatever problem you're dealing with. Maybe it's stinging insects around your house, carpenter bees or wasps. Maybe you have moles in the yard or ants that are creeping their way into the kitchen or into the bathroom. They can create a customized plan for you. Also, when you call Rottler, you're going to have a real human answer the phone, which is great. And they offer same-day and next-day service. So you know that the help that you need will be timely. Might I suggest, especially with all the rain we've been having, if you're having an outdoor party, call Rottler and get their mosquito service before you have your outdoor party. It's a game changer. You won't have guests running inside because they're getting eaten alive. Visit them today, Rottler.com.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Lockridge, and I'm the host of a new podcast from Odyssey called Family Lore. In this podcast, I'm going to have people on to tell unusual and sometimes far-fetched stories about their families.
I've heard my whole life that she invented the margarita.
And then we're going to investigate those stories and find out how much of it is true.
He gets a patent 1 month before the Wright brothers. Oh my God.
Please follow and listen to Family Lore, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
There's a saying, it takes a group of good men to build a barn, and only one to tear it down. Well, a few Jeff City politicians are at it again, tearing things down with Amendment 5 and Amendment 4. No on 5 and 4. 5 takes our money with higher sales taxes, higher taxes on gas, guns, and groceries, a sales tax hike on rent and diesel, seed and feed. 4 takes away our constitutional right to vote and go around the establishment politicians and to stop higher taxes. Takes away our safety valve, a vote of the people to stop or reverse a dumb idea like the everything tax. I'm a no. A heck no. No. No on Amendment 5. No on Amendment 4. No on both 4 and 5. Paid for by no on the everything tax.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear. It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Join us each week during Redbird Rush Hour as we spotlight people making the community better through sports. This week, we'll tell you about an organization helping visually impaired people play and experience athletic activities. It's Building Community with Busey Bank, Beyond the Game on KMOX.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
100 years of service and still at your service. KMOX.
Well, this is a really great topic for our know-it-all listeners because I need help. And I always turn to our know-it-all listeners for help when I need it.
Right.
314-436-7900. So here's the deal. I'm sitting on my couch last night, and I hear scratching coming from my fireplace. I have a gas fireplace, and it's funny because usually I keep the glass doors open in the winter because I turn the gas fireplace on all the time, but obviously it's summer, and you may as well just close those glass doors, not waste any heat or air conditioning. So the glass doors were closed, and I heard some scratching, and I hear birds up there, at the very top of the chimney, quite a bit. That's what birds do. And then all of a sudden, I see, soot and dirt falling into my fireplace. I'm like, wow, they're really knocking stuff down. And then goes, and I see more dirt and soot, and then, boom, a bird falls down into my fireplace.
What kind of bird? Was it a hawk?
Little one. Not a hawk. Probably not a robin. What's a regular bird that's not a robin?
Sparrow.
That's right. That's what I think it was. And he, I don't know, maybe it was a he. I'm assuming it was. Then is hitting the glass. He runs into the glass a couple of times. Now, I'm a little startled, but I'm really glad that I happened to close those glass doors because otherwise the bird would have flown around my house and pooped everywhere, as birds do when they panic. So the bird lands in the fireplace, hits the glass a couple of times, but then really doesn't panic, which leads me to believe, is he hurt? Is he stunned? And he sits on the logs, on the fake logs of my fireplace. So now I'm staring at the bird, and I'm like, what do I do? How do I get this guy out?
You roasted it.
No, I didn't roast it, Ranch.
I don't mean like a celebrity roast. I mean like you cooked it. You know, like,
He's such an idiot. He fell down the fireplace.
look at you stupid bird. Can't even fly.
And so I call my maintenance guy because that's what I do. I don't try to immediately be resourceful. I usually call for help. And so I call the maintenance guy and say, hey, I'm staring at this bird. He's behind the glass doors, and I want to get him out. I feel terrible. And I think I kind of thought maybe the maintenance guy would just like come over and help me because I feel like it's a 2-person job. And he said, oh, yeah, that's tough. He's like, well, what if you covered up the fireplace glass, like with a piece of cardboard to make it dark? Could he fly back up the chimney? And I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. Like this guy, he weaseled his way down a place he shouldn't have been. And there's no way he's going to get back up. But he was going to, the maintenance guy was going to call pest control to see if someone could help. And I know everyone's thinking, why didn't you just do it yourself? Well, I was going to, but I thought, okay, it's tired, it's late. I either need to concoct a way to get this bird out of my fireplace without him pooping all over my family room, or maybe I try the covering up the glass, which I really, truly did not think would work. I kind of knew it would not work. But I tried it. And so I took a piece of cardboard and taped it up against the fireplace, hoping that, okay, he'll go toward the light. Well, of course, now it's night, too. So do I have to wait till morning? I don't know. And I get in bed and I'm thinking, I'm a monster. I'm a monster. This little bird is in my fireplace. And I don't have a net. I don't have a butterfly net. I have a plastic bin and I have a sheet. And I think I could have concocted something, but I wasn't thinking clearly. And I went to bed, and then I woke up like at 11, and then I woke up at 1 a.m. thinking, you need to go save that bird right now. You're a monster. He's not going to fly back up. So I wake up in the morning feeling like I'm a serial killer. Like, you should have saved the bird right away. So I undo the cardboard, untape it, and I look and I shine my flashlight in there. And previously, when I'd shined my flashlight in the fireplace, the bird would fly toward the light and hit the glass. And let me be clear, the bird was perfectly calm last night. Like if he had been panicking and kept hitting the glass, I would have done something right away, but he was kind of sitting there, not too perturbed. At any rate, I shine the flashlight in the fireplace. No bird. I cannot believe it worked. The bird flew back up. That's not how it works. I mean, I would have bet $1 million that bird would not fly back up the fireplace. So I'm shining my flashlight in. I spend quite a bit of time. I kind of open the door a little bit and shine the flashlight in. By golly, he's gone. And then I close the door back up. And I'm thinking, I wonder if did he poop and I missed it or something? So I'm looking to see if he pooped. And I shine the flashlight back in again and boom, the bird hits the glass. He's still there. Now I have to leave for work. Now it's late.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to try to save the bird and still get here in time to be on air. I feel like a monster because that little guy is all by himself, sitting there on the log in my fireplace. Why didn't I rescue him right away?
The bird has a brain the size of your pinky, your pinky nail. It doesn't know what the hell's going on.
I know. He would never know to fly back up the chimney. I should have saved him right away, but I think I was so tired.
He's supposed to die soon anyway.
No, he's not.
Yeah, they don't live very long.
No, guys.
Birds live 8 hours. This
is how serial killers start. I feel the amount of guilt.
You're not dissecting it just to see what it does when you cut into it.
But he's sad. And you know what else? His family knows he's there. Because
his family doesn't know anything about him.
You know why? Because there were 2 birds on the window staring at me, and they never stare at me.
That's not okay. You are what is it like being in there?
So stressful. Do you know the amount of guilt? I feel the weight of the world. We have a texter that said it was a chimney swift.
You know what that is?
Is that what they do? Is that why they're called chimney swifts?
Chimney sweeps?
Swift?
I don't know. This is...
Guys, Sonia, I have a plan.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine. So this is one of God's creatures.
You just wait till it dies and then take it outside and put it in the trash.
So I have a plan. I have a plastic bin because I'm not a very well stocked house. So, I didn't have a big butterfly net, but I'm going to tape a sheet around the fireplace and then a plastic bin and open the door. And then the sheet will be my backup. He'll go in the plastic bin. I'll put the lid on it. I'll bring him outside, open the lid, and he'll get to go home to his family. Because I think his family has nefarious plans. They were staring at me this morning.
No, it's not his family. There is no such thing. I have a bigger bird problem, and that is the bird that's nested directly above my house, my door, that's pooping all over my door. And when I come out, I have to look up to make sure that it doesn't poop on me.
You?
It went away, but I think a new bird has taken its place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to do with this bird. I want to. What I want to do is get a hose and just spray the thing off,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably animal cruelty, so
It's
I can't do
mean.
that. But I can't have it crapping on me.
So what you need to do is see if the nest is empty. If it's empty, get the nest out and then put foil there, aluminum foil.
Because they are afraid of foil, like bright and shiny stuff. That's actually true.
It's actually true because someone else had a bird problem and he put foil there, and then those birds stared at him. I'm telling you, birds will stare at you. They know what you're up to.
They don't know what the hell's going on. They're stupid. Unless you're a hawk or an owl or something cool, they don't know what the hell's going on. Hey, you know how much I love our sheriff, who's currently in jail?
Yeah.
Our sheriff, Alfred Montgomery.
Your sheriff.
Here's an update on a story related to him. We'll get into that when we come back on KMOX.
All Access with Ollie Marble on the Gas House Gang.
I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group. This group fits my personality to a T. I love what we're doing. I love how we're going about it. I love the honest conversations. I love the grit. And there's been certain times where I've caught myself where bases are loaded, our back's up against the wall, and I can't help but smile. I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group.
Ollie Marble, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
86 degrees, humid with sunshine mixing with some clouds. Wildfire smoke today in the sky. You may have noticed it's hazy. A high of 92 degrees tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 68. Weather sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very good friend John Moriarty from E3 Wealth. John and I go back years and years and years. John, it's great to have you back in the DGS fold. Tell everyone who's unfamiliar with E3 Wealth what you guys are all about.
Thanks, Dave. I'm so happy to be back. E3, the 3 E's stand for Educate, Empower, Enlighten. We founded the firm, and sometimes we refer to it as E3 Consultants Group, because we want to proactively challenge the status quo as to how Americans are educated about money and finance-related decisions. It's a lot. So really what we try to do for our clients is help them think differently about money. And recently we've been doing a ton of things with business owners because we see that as an area where we can provide tremendous growth for them because we can help them build wealth through their business and also reduce their income tax liabilities. And when you can do that for a business owner, it makes a huge difference in their life.
It's kind of one-stop shopping for all finances, personal and business.
Absolutely. Yes, that's our focus. That's what we're attempting to do with our new book that's coming out called The Entrepreneur Playbook. We're going to be able to help a lot of people understand strategies, ideas on how to build their wealth and also protect it.
So John is a total pro, completely vouch for him as a person. Love this guy. No pressure, no hard sales. You want to learn more about your finances, personal and business, reach out to John at e3wealth.com.
St. Louis, are you ready to rock? AC/DC is bringing the Power Up Tour to the Dome at America Center Tuesday, September 8th. Hear legendary hits like Back in Black, Thunderstruck, and Highway to Hell, performed live by one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Don't wait on tickets. They're still available at Ticketmaster.com. AC/DC, the Power Up Tour, Tuesday, September 8th. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
Today,
The Cards, the Cubs,
Ameren Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I was lamenting my bird issue that I have. There's a bird trapped in my fireplace. I need to save him. What's funny is, Ron, as I was driving into work today, just introspective, I was thinking the one thing that radio has taught me is that there are a lot of really unhappy people in this world. I think a lot of them.
One of them's in this room.
I think a lot of them text in. There's so many sad, unhappy people. So one of them just texted in. I'll read it because it deserves to be read. A 636 says, "Bet you took time to fix your stupid hair, but no time to help a bird. God sees the sparrow, and he sees your selfishness, too."
That guy gets it. I love that texter.
What's funny is, again,
that texter gets it.
I feel so bad for his life. But the good news is...
Why? Because he made an observation about you?
He made an assumption about me because if, as you may have noticed, maybe he's not an everyday listener. Because remember yesterday when I told you how I met Ollie and I went to the concert, and I didn't want to be late, so I went with wet hair. But then for some reason, that was the first thing I told Ollie is, I have wet hair. Today, proud to say, I have wet hair because I didn't fix my hair.
Oh, congratulations.
I just took a shower and then rushed out. But 636, thank you for texting in. Thank you for listening. I hope life gets better for you.
First of all, I'm not. I think you're making a wild assumption that person's life sucks. All they did was text about you. And they're not entirely wrong.
I just can't imagine taking time to text that. At any rate,
it takes 5 seconds to text like this one.
Maybe it was your... sorry, I was going to say maybe it was your sheriff. But yes, let's hear.
Like this text. It says, if Chris's bird hears what he said about Amy's bird, it'll probably poop on him more.
You know, that's a good point.
They don't listen to the radio.
I think they do. No,
they don't listen to podcasts. They don't listen to anything. Birds are stupid. They're stupid.
You know what?
They have small brains for a reason. They're stupid.
I know why that bird is pooping on your front porch. I would too if you talked about me like that.
Doesn't know any better. Speaking of you did mention the sheriff.
Yeah.
And
maybe that was the sheriff who texted in. Like if I were in jail, that's the type of text I would text.
I did have a very unsuccessful Save My Sheriff campaign that I worked very hard on. Nobody joined me in my effort, but our sheriff, who became my sheriff, he's currently in jail because of all kinds of wrongdoing, and we've gone over all the wrongdoing. But the thing that started it is related to this next story. And James Short was a former deputy, a sheriff's deputy at the Justice Center, and he has been sentenced to probation after he admitted to having sexual contact with an inmate in the jail. It was a female inmate, and this happened back early last year in January. And I guess at some point, she must have told her mother what happened. And about a month later, the woman's mother reported to the jail officials what had happened. And one of them being Tammy Ross, who was the jail chief, the deputy jail chief, who you may have heard of over the last year, of no fault of her own. So she sent copies of the investigation to the police report because they conducted an investigation. On February 13th, 3 days later, Montgomery shows up to the jail demanding to talk to the inmate about what happened. I guess he wanted to see for himself. Well, Tammy Ross said, no, you can't do that. Let me check with legal first. So Montgomery leaves, comes back the next day with other people, demands again to see this inmate for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, but he then places her in handcuffs. So we've heard the story about Montgomery placing a jail employee in handcuffs. Well, this is it. And so this is all coming from a sheriff's deputy who had sex with an inmate, which you are absolutely not allowed. Not supposed to. You're just not allowed. It is literally illegal.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. And so he was prosecuted as a result. But man, the hell are we doing around here? And I tried really hard to defend my sheriff.
You did.
Because I thought, what a colorful character. He's got golden dice.
He's got personality. Every city could use a little personality.
He bought golf carts. I love golf carts. You love golf carts? You've had experience with golf carts over the weekend
golf
in
carts
Soulard?
in the city. And I think buying golf carts to transport inmates back and forth to like the hospital or the courthouse, I think that's thinking outside the box. It adds a little excitement to the transportation process. Don't you think so? Having inmates on a golf cart?
Of course. Yeah.
It mixes things up.
I think it's fun. Open air.
Open air.
Also, this sheriff's deputy, James Short, he's got a misdemeanor case in the county because he left his service weapon unattended a couple of years ago, and his 2-year-old nephew picked it up and shot himself.
Oh, my gosh.
So
this is not good.
I mean...
So are you done with your sheriff?
I mean, am I done with him? You know, everybody deserves a second chance.
Third, fourth chance?
Or fifth.
I guess.
Who am I?
Who among us?
Who am I to deny him that?
Yeah. Who among us hasn't misused taxpayer dollars to buy new badges and uniforms and golf carts and cars and service vehicles?
Does anybody know where this new SUV, or I guess it's not new anymore, but it was new last year, where the SUV is? Is it still in service? Is it nice? Can I ride in it?
I don't know.
This was the something like $80,000 SUV that he bought with taxpayer money?
Yeah, when we talk to Sean Malone, we can ask him.
All right.
I hate to pile on, but I guess we will mention, which is wild because I was thinking about going to the Loop this weekend, the Del Mar Loop. It's just, I love the restaurants there. Corner 17 is so good. I don't know if you've been to Corner 17. It's the best. I mean, dumplings and pot stickers and noodles. So good, right? Session Taco. That's my Session Taco I always go to. So this is why this really bothers me, as it should. We've heard of teen takeovers and the planned teen takeovers. This one seems like it was more organic, but Sunday afternoon, teens began gathering on the Loop, just at different locations around the Loop. And by Sunday night, it was a super rowdy, chaotic crowd with teenagers, multiple fights on the sidewalks. There were teenagers going into businesses, causing havoc, kind of damaging or annoying, damaging the place, throwing chairs, or annoying the owners and the patrons. I believe gunshots rang out at one point, but it all began early Sunday afternoon, and it was Sunday night when all the young people and teens were overrunning the streets and the parking lot along Del Mar, and it actually forced a lot of businesses to close early. what's really interesting, because I went to that Session Taco. I go to that Session Taco all the time. That's the one I go to. And the CVS that's right there on Delmar closed early. They had to kick everyone out, close the doors, say we'll reopen tomorrow at 8 a.m. At Session Taco, about 30 to 35 kids began gathering outside and just fighting near their outside patio between 7 and 7 p.m. This is from Adam Tilford, who we've talked to, the owner of Session Taco. And then officers responded. They cleared the patio, and the kids came right back. Then it grew even larger. The fight grew even larger. And then it started wrapping around the parking lot behind the building. And then Session Taco, just before 8 p.m., said, hey, we're locking the doors. All the patrons who are inside say, hey, for your safety, we're all going to stay inside. We're going to lock the doors. And the KSDK here interviewed a couple of the people at Session Taco who said, yeah, it was really jarring to see all these kids fighting right outside the windows. One guy who wanted to stay anonymous said, I looked down the alley and there's actually a mob. They were jumping somebody. Someone got beat up really bad. They were kicking on him. They were stomping him. And so again, Session Taco locked the doors, instructed patrons to remain inside until officers regained control of the area. And then the restaurant, Session Taco, which usually opens and stays open until 11 p.m., they closed around 9. And so all these restaurants were closing. And it's just so frustrating, Ranj. Again, where are your parents? Where are the adults? And it's just so stupid that a bunch of idiots, dozens and dozens and dozens of idiots, yes, endangering the patrons, the business owners, hurting each other, especially when gunshots ring out. That can hurt families, kids, anybody. But we talked about wanting businesses to stay open, and all of these business owners that are investing in St. Louis and the Loop to make them great areas. Something like this does so much harm, not just on that day, not just that night where it's an economic hit because you have a summer weekend, which generally summer weekends are big for restaurant. You shut early, you have to close early, and also now you got to live down the reputation that this is going to spread. I mean, I'm talking about it, so obviously it's spreading. Hey, you got to be careful because fights break out. It's really frustrating. It's so bad for the city.
Well, yeah, but it is happening everywhere. I don't want to make it sound like this is only a St. Louis problem, because it definitely is not. We have these takeovers that are around the country happening, and part of the issue is they're very difficult to stop. They're very difficult to prevent. You got to have some kind of intelligence, and I mean it in, the CIA sense. You have to, the police, the law enforcement has to know ahead of time because they hear something or they monitor a channel, social media or something, and they hear that this is about to happen or somebody tips them off. There's no other way to prevent it. So these are, and again, these are challenges that are happening around the country, and it doesn't seem to be any really good fix for it because social media makes it very, very easy to do this. If you're 16 years old and you got a group of other 16-year-olds, you all kind of know where to go to communicate with each other. And this is what happens. It's really difficult to stop. And I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, no, I don't like we said, ultimately it comes down to the same thing we talk about with schools, with teen takeovers, with things getting out of control is, families, communities, churches, schools, organizations, whatever it is, we've got to start healing that part first.
I have got a poor customer service story for you.
Really?
When we come back, did you see this? And actually, this customer service story is kind of great.
What?
Did you see this? Is next on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Laderman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change changed. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your politician's Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, helping politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the politician's Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Ford 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Breaking news. Missouri will vote on Amendment 4 this August. Right now, a ballot measure passes in Missouri if it gets a majority of votes statewide. Amendment 4 would permanently end that. If Amendment 4 passes, it would rewrite the Missouri Constitution. So instead of using the total statewide vote to decide if something is approved, a measure would need to win a majority of votes separately in each of Missouri's 8 congressional districts in order to pass. So one district could veto the will of most Missourians. That means with Amendment 4, just 5% of voters could overrule what the majority of Missouri citizens want. Opponents of Amendment 4 say it undermines the sacred principle of one person, one vote, and takes away the people's power, giving it to politicians and special interests instead. Protect majority rule. Vote no on Amendment 4. Paid for by Protect Majority Rule Missouri, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
If you've been told that you need a new heating and cooling system for your home, and if you've gotten prices or you're going to get prices, call me. Try to stay away from the word high efficiency or efficiency. If you replace your system now and it's 12, 15, or 20 years old, you are greatly improving the efficiency just by replacing the old, inefficient unit. Do not be fooled. If you want a common sense approach and you just want your house cooled, I will help you. If you're good with that, call me. One easy number. It's Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Well, all of us have been on a plane before where we have been afraid that something terrible was going to happen, or at least you have that thought that something bad was going to happen. But without actually having the plane crash, I'm not sure that much worse than this can happen to you on a flight.
Okay. Oh, no.
Ljubiša Karović, I hope I pronounced it correctly, is a Serbian man who was on a flight from Greece to Germany earlier in the month. And you may have heard about this story. He was asleep on the flight next to the window when the window exploded. And an opening in the plane caused him to be sucked out of the plane, but was still fastened to his seatbelt on the seat. So for 2 minutes...
Because those windows aren't big, but...
No.
Yeah.
So for 2 minutes, he was hanging halfway out the plane at 20,000 feet.
Was his head... Do you know what part of him was outside of the plane?
He was being held by other passengers by the legs. So he was hanging head first out of the flight diagonally. In fact, one witness said that he was dangling diagonally out of the aircraft, quote, like Superman flying through the air. Okay.
Okay, wait, but those jets go 500 miles an hour. They go 500 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a commercial airline.
Isn't that going to just take your head off?
Well, obviously, he's recovering. He does have some friction burns and bruises along his right arm and chest, so it could have been a whole lot worse.
My gosh.
Now, you would think that Ryanair, the airline that he was flying on, would fall over themselves.
Yes.
To accommodate this man. Oh, whatever we can get you, whatever we can do, free flights, whatever
Avoid
you
a
want.
lawsuit?
He was asked recently by the Daily Mail what sort of contact he's had with the airline. He said, all we've had is emails to my son who booked our flights asking if we wanted to rebook.
Are you serious?
That's all
This
they've
can't
offered
be.
him.
This has to be. You know what it has to be? It has to be AI. Somehow, I can't compute. He should get a personal phone call from the CEO of Ryanair saying you can fly for free for the rest of your life since you got sucked out of the plane.
He says, quote, nobody from the company has contacted me directly, not even a phone call to show any concern. If I owned the airline, I'd be on the phone immediately.
That's what I'm saying.
The very highest
person,
level of the
yes.
airline. I would be on the phone like, hey, man, what can we do? Oh my gosh, we are so sorry
Please
this happened
tell
to you.
me.
You were sucked out of an airplane for 2 minutes.
Is he going to
in flight?
Yes. Because their window
The guy's
exploded.
not Tom Cruise. He's just a guy trying to go to Germany.
So is he going to sue them? He needs to file some for. You know what? Brad Young, he could help him probably. Although
I think Brad Young could
that
absolutely.
might not be Germany. He might not have be able to practice law in Germany.
I mean, he was on a Boeing 737. Way to go, Boeing. Once again.
Okay.
Killing it.
If you got sucked out, depending on how your body got sucked out the window, I mean, it could snap your head back pretty quickly, right?
Yes.
Okay,
You think so?
everyone driving, no,
It could-
stick your head out the window going 60 miles an hour.
So he does have an attorney who
Okay.
is seeking, quote, significant compensation.
Yeah, I would think so. You
Yeah.
know what he should get? He should get Ryanair.
They
he
should have to-
owns it now.
They should have to donate a Qatari plane to him or something, and he can retrofit
Just some
it and use
cash.
it for. I mean, it is a. I mean, what are you talking about
Wow.
here? Not even a phone call?
All right, I got to look into this story
I've heard
more.
Ryanair sucks. I don't know anything about
yeah.
it, but there just are a
It's
lot
rough.
of stories out there about how bad it is.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. On this day in 1849, St. Louis City's Committee of Health declared the Great Cholera Epidemic was over.
Nice.
8,423 locals died. To put it in perspective, this is according to St. Louis Magazine, that would be the equivalent of 300,000 residents of St. Louis City and County dying during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the 8,423 locals who died from cholera by 1849 would be the equivalent of St. Louis City and County losing 300,000 residents during COVID-19. Wow.
1849, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Things were only going to get worse from there.
Well,
anyway, okay, I got to look more into Ryanair. This story is really upsetting.
isn't it madness? How are you not even going to call him? An email? Do you want to rebook? Hey, man, sorry you got sucked halfway out of your plane. Would you like to rebook your flight? We have a flight credit for you. Would you like to rebook?
A 618 says, "Fly with Ryanair. We hate you."
They detest you. My Lord. Hour 2 of 3 is coming up, and when we come back, we'll talk economy with Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth. The Fed with a meeting today Deciding on interest rates, we'll get Dave's thoughts next on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 10 o'clock. We have partly sunny skies, 86 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. FEMA is providing additional funding to help St. Louis City recover from last year's tornado. How much will it help?
FEMA is providing nearly $3 million more to St. Louis City to help fund their case managers, assisting tornado victims navigate various sources of recovery funds. However, the workload on these managers is significant. Mayor Kara Spencer.
1,200 residents, Austin, and about 10 case managers.
The funding for these case managers was initially provided by the city and due to expire next month. Well, these funds allow for more case managers so they can more quickly sift through these applications. Mayor Spencer said those answers will come in the coming days. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Ahead of Lindsey Graham's funeral, a bipartisan group of senators announcing an agreement to move forward on a highly anticipated Russia and Iran sanctions bill named in his honor.
The Senate is expected to move forward with a procedural vote on the bill tonight following Graham's funeral service. The package would impose primary and secondary sanctions on Russia and other countries that support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The sanctions target Russian political officials and oligarchs, banks and financial institutions, and the Russian shadow fleet, according to lawmakers. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to be on Capitol Hill for the vote. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Why would the head of Downtown Forward, the nonprofit group working to revitalize downtown St. Louis, why would he be vandalizing lampposts on Washington Avenue? That's a question a local street vendor has. Troy McAdoo tells the Post-Dispatch he watched and recorded Matt O'Leary, Downtown Forward's executive director, putting glue inside an electrical outlet on a lamppost. When McAdoo asked what O'Leary was doing, he reportedly said, "I was just checking the power. I was just checking the voltage." That video has since been posted to social media. The police are investigating. Walmart has lost a title it held for 12 consecutive years. ABC's Jim Ryan says it is no longer the biggest company in the world.
At least not according to the Fortune Global 500 ranking released this morning. Amazon is number one this year, with revenue surging 12% and surpassing $700 billion. Behind the online retailer is former number one Walmart, followed by China's State Grid, United Healthcare Group, and Saudi Aramco. Apple comes in as the world's sixth largest company by revenue.
The American Red Cross declaring a national blood crisis for only the second time in the organization's history. The Red Cross says donations have fallen to a 4-year summer low. All blood types are needed, but the situation is especially dire for type O. The supply of type O positive has now dropped below a one-day supply.
A heat advisory remains in effect through 7 this evening, with an extreme heat warning for areas to the south and east of Metro St. Louis. Some hazy sunshine, hot and steamy this afternoon, high 92 with Acura, with the real field temperatures up to 105. Partly cloudy tonight, though 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and less humid, high 88. Thursday, sun and some clouds, high 89. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Partly sunny, 86 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
Every Tuesday, we talk to Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth. And we do that now again on this beautiful Tuesday, July 28th. Good to have you with us, Dave Simons, on the Quiver River Electric guest line. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Always glad to be here. Chris, Amy, how are you?
Doing well. Doing very well. We love talking to you. And what's funny is this unusual situation we're in with the market, and we talked last week about, the company, the earnings reports coming in and those being through the roof, that this has been a very interesting year and a half. So I guess let's start with the fact that it has been such a weird, unpredictable year and a half. What do you expect for the Fed meeting that starts today with interest rates being announced tomorrow afternoon?
Well, I'll start with maybe a little bit of a provocative statement.
Okay.
This isn't a hot take or anything like that, but I believe that Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chairman, when it's all said and done, when his tenure is over, how long that may go down as one of the most influential Fed chairmen in history. Not necessarily because he's going to be great and successful. He could be a complete disaster. I have no idea. I say that because he's already reshaping the Fed in a way that we've never seen in its long history. And I'll just point out one, and it's already starting to show up, and that is he doesn't want to give any guidance to the public markets about what the Fed is thinking. That goes in the face of decades of what we've seen of the Fed, trying to hint to the markets, trying to hint to the public that, hey, at our next meeting, we may hike rates, we may lower rates. I think we're going to just keep them where they are so the markets have time to adjust. And Kevin Warsh has publicly said it's foolish to do that. A lot of times we have to change our minds. It gets the markets going this way when maybe we end up going that way, and it hurts people. And I completely agree with him. And that's just one thing. So that gets us to tomorrow. There has been more guessing of what the Fed may do tomorrow with rates than any time I can remember, because Warsh has been silent. There really hasn't been any public guidance since their last meeting about 6-7 weeks ago or so. Right now, if you look at the odds markets, there's something called the options market they are predicting about a 54% chance that they hike rates tomorrow. I think that's too high. I don't think they're going to do it. I then looked at the prediction market, Kalshi, which actually does a pretty good job, frankly, and they put it at only 27%. So I think what we're going to hear maybe is they're thinking that they might want to raise rates this fall, but I do not think they're going to raise rates tomorrow. I think they're going to keep them where they are.
So you think it's better that we don't have an idea ahead of time, that we don't really know what's going to happen?
Yeah, Chris, that's a great question. So I'll explain it this way. The markets still have a pretty good idea of what the voting members think, because I just talked about Kevin Walsh. The other Fed governors who vote, the voting members, are free to go out in public and say, I think we've got an inflation problem, and I think we need to start talking about maybe hiking rates down the road. That's been happening. So there's enough of that where I think a lot of people still kind of get a general feel, but and try not to spend too much time on this, but I can point out times where the Fed has actually harmed businesses and the economy because of their predictions, which turned out to be wrong. I can make the case a couple of years ago. You may recall Silicon Valley Bank and some others, First Republic, went under. And there was fear that that was going to spread to the rest of the financial industry and banking industry, which it did not. I could make the argument that one of the reasons why Silicon Valley Bank out in California went under is because they were looking at what the Fed was predicting, and it was wrong. And they put their balance sheet based on these predictions, and it destroyed them. I fully believe that. So I think it's not a bad idea that the Fed not have to feel so inclined to give some kind of public guidance and then have to reshuffle that a couple of months later. There's enough evidence out there that I think investors can already make their own decisions before the meeting.
So then moving on to those earning reports that, as you noted, have continued to really come in quickly and just kind of knock the estimates out of the water. Why do you think that's still happening? And then how have those earning reports affected or not affected the market?
Okay, I have some statistics that are amazing. Never seen anything like this in history, and I'm not overstating it. Google, or Alphabet, just reported earnings, second quarter earnings, quarterly earnings. The highest number, the largest revenue report in corporate American history for one quarter. Alphabet reported more than $100 billion in revenue in the second quarter. No other company has ever come close to that. That's not 1 year. That's not 2 years. That's one quarter. And yet, their cash flow for the quarter was negative. And their stock is down 20% the last couple of months. Why? How could you have the most profitable company in history for one quarter actually report a negative number in net cash flow? AI. That's what they're spending their money on. All of these big hyperscalers and other companies are spending every dollar and then some that comes in to put out their AI footprint. And the market is finally saying, okay, this is enough. This has gotten a little out of hand. We're now spending hundreds of billions of dollars on data centers around the country. This overspending enough. We as shareholders, we actually like to see profit. We want to actually see you report income. We're okay with a quarter or two, but this continues to go on. And Google, Alphabet, you're telling us that you think you're going to continue to have negative cash flow for a while? We're starting to get a little nervous. So, guys, this is a real tipping point here. I'm serious about this, where profits are great, but if you're reporting losses ultimately because you're spending too much money, there's a short shelf life for that. And so we talked about this last week about how maybe we're getting into the summer doldrums here. Well, guess what? We're having record profits, and these high-flying tech stocks are going down. So there's something happening here, and I would tread lightly. Not overall investing. There's still some really good stocks, but tread lightly about adding a lot of new money into some of these high-flying tech stocks. We might not be done with the declines just yet.
I saw a ratings agency, Fitch, had sort of been warning about this AI thing that maybe, and I'm just, I guess, paraphrasing here, but there is a very big possibility of a bubble happening. That, like you mentioned, all this investment that's going to it, and maybe the market's saying, okay, maybe we're going a little too hard here. So what could be the end result of that? It seems like it could be almost catastrophic.
Yeah, so we all tend to compare, not so much the great financial crisis of 08, 07, 08, because that was different. It wasn't tech. It was not stock market. It was mortgage and banks and all that, housing. The comparison would be to the internet bubble. This was a new technological revolution, of course. We had never seen anything like it. Market going crazy from 95 to 99, and then it historically crashed. The NASDAQ itself fell 78%. We've just never seen anything like that outside of the Great Depression. Are we near something like that again? My opinion, no. But Chris, you said the word bubble. Okay, how do you define a bubble? Everyone's going to define it differently. I would say we're not in a bubble like we were in 1999. But have things gotten a little out of hand? Yes. Would I say there's a little bit of a minor bubble going on here? Yes. Let me tell you something. This is on the positive side, so everyone doesn't get too spooked by what we're talking about here. This is healthy. This sell-off in tech stocks is healthy. Look at the market today. The NASDAQ is down. A lot of your big chip stocks, like even the NVIDIAs, are down today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up over 400 points. What does that tell you? The economy itself is still healthy, and a lot of these non-AI, non-tech companies are doing just fine, and they're reporting their own record profits. So for long-term investors, it's okay. We're going to get through this. That's why I say just be careful not to put too much extra money into some of these AI stocks here until we get better clarity on their profit picture. But I do not see that classic bubble in 99, except maybe in some selected tech areas.
Dave, you're talking about AI stocks. You mentioned data centers. How directly do data center projects affect stocks and or the market? Because we saw yesterday that OpenAI is close to leasing a $500 billion with a B data center in southern Ohio, and they're in separate talks with NVIDIA for a $250 billion financial backstop for the project. So this one project alone, is it affecting, because it's so big, is it affecting the AI stocks and the market directly?
How do we get our brains around these numbers? I mean, you hit the numbers exactly. My longtime partner here, Tom Cordes, and I were talking about this very same thing this morning. Like, where is this money coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Who is giving it? Well, a lot of it is from private investors. A lot of it is in the debt market. I even talked about Alphabet/Google. They have actually added debt. They have gone into the lending community and said, yeah, I know we report hundreds of billions of dollars in profits, but we'd also like to borrow some money. It's just nuts what's happening. So, Amy, to your question, yeah, the money is real. However, it's really all of their profits and then some for a lot of these companies, and it's really hit the bottom line. And that's, at the end of the day, this is what shareholders look at. They say, okay, I want to buy stock in this particular company. Wow, your business is really growing. Oh, and your AI, this is going to be huge. This is the real thing. Oh, but you're actually reporting losses. How long do you think that's going to continue to go on? You don't know? May take a pass for now. Now, again, long-term investors, I personally own some of these AI stocks. I have pared back over the last 6 to 9 months. I still have some. I still believe them in long term. But I think we've got a little bit of a rocky time for these kinds of things because the spending is overwhelming, I think, sanity at this point.
We are talking about how the market is doing, and overall it is still doing pretty well. But, and here's the other side of this, consumer confidence is down in July, which means people don't feel like the economy is doing well. So what's with the discrepancy there?
Yeah, that's something that I've really been struggling with because I talk about it a lot. in terms of consumer confidence at historically low levels. And yet I see the economy overall just humming along. I really do wonder if this is something that you feel it. You're like, I look at the war and it just is dragging on. And boy, we've got these midterms and we're already seeing these election commercials and everyone's bashing each other. And there's almost this, it's almost palpable. You just kind of feel down and despondent at times. And so you just need to turn off the news, but then you go out and spend money.
Yeah.
But we're still going to go to Disneyland and Disney World, and we're still going to go, take this trip, and we're going to go out to that nice dinner Friday. And I was looking for a new car, and everyone economically and with money seems to be doing just fine. So, Chris, it's a great question, and it's something that a lot of analysts have been really looking at because the two don't seem to match. What people are saying and what they are actually doing are completely different things.
Just to kind of follow up on that yes, what people are saying in surveys, how they feel and what they say seem to be very different from their actions. Someone pointed out we also see that in elections where people are saying they have the least amount of confidence in the elections and so forth than ever, but people are still voting in record numbers. People are still going out and voting. And I feel like it's not uncommon now to see people answer surveys, fill out forms a certain way, but what they say and what they do are very different.
No question. I remember the first time when Trump ran in 2016. That's why a lot of surveys said, yeah, he's probably not going to win, because what people said and what they really did were completely different things. So the last 10 years, I think the surveys do tend to show us sort of maybe a trend, but they're not very good at showing us what the ultimate outcome is going to be.
But could it also be, though, that there are still, even when an economy is not good for everybody, there are still people with disposable income, that those people are spending money, but the vast majority of Americans don't have it to spend, and so therefore they are not, which is why the confidence is low? Could it be that?
I think you're onto something there, Chris. I think if you could break it down in income categories, people who make this kind of money, or net worth categories, that's where the majority of your spending is coming from. There is no doubt about it. Now, what is that percentage? I don't know. I think it's safe to say that if you look at the bottom 20% of income and net worth, they are not adding to the growth of the economy. They're just trying to pay their bills. But is it the bottom 30%, bottom 40%? I don't know. I have seen, though, if you take a look at just the top 10%, more than 50% of your economic output is coming right now from the top 10%. So we talk about the K economy. It's very real.
Dave Simons, love talking to you, and we will talk again next week.
Thanks to both of you. Stay cool out there.
That is partner and managing director of One Private Wealth, Dave Simons, with us every Tuesday on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do, and you do. We all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the gallery showcases stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. So I'm telling you guys all the time, if you have a complicated medical issue, hire the best doctor you can. If a complicated legal issue, hire the best lawyer you can. Stewie, same thing goes for a mortgage.
You know what, Dave? That's so important. And most people today, they go on a computer and they say, okay, I'm shopping for a mortgage. I'll get some rocket ship mortgage or something else, and that's what I'll do. Wrong. Your home is the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. Don't be foolish. When you're making a major decision like this, you want to have an expert, and you want that expert to be available when it's convenient for you. We give out our personal cell phone number. You can call us nights, weekends. Text us when you're available. This is called accessibility to the biggest and best expert. That's us. You can get the right advice and the right product when you connect.
Call Stuart on his cell phone, 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS 226715.
Tired of your phone bill constantly going up? Stop the madness with Boost Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month. No contracts, no catches. And that $25 price is locked in forever. Switch to Boost Mobile today.
Still here, still trusted. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Well, I have wonderful news. We have a bird update. I had a bird fly down my chimney last night. And like I said, immediately called the maintenance guy on how to best help the bird get out of that situation. And they suggested I cover the glass to see if the bird would fly back up the chimney. But I really didn't think that was going to work. And it didn't. And so, again, like I said, to make sure the little birdie lives, a pest control company has come and let the bird back out into freedom with its family. He's safe now. Don't you feel happy? Don't you feel like the weight of the world has been lifted off your shoulders?
Who paid for that?
Well, I don't know.
The taxpayers of Kirkwood.
The taxpayers of Kirkwood. Well, no, because I rent.
Yeah,
so I
the
have a
landlord
maintenance
took
guy.
care of it.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I called right away, like
All
a
right.
concerned citizen should. Said, look at this little guy. So they said, well, let's see if he can get back out on his own. And if he can't get back out on his own. And my fear is that I wouldn't be able to get him out without him panicking and then flying all over the house. And then he's running into things and hitting his head and going poo-poo. That's not good for anybody.
You could have just thrown, as a texter suggested earlier, just throw a towel over it.
I don't think it would have worked, though, because he was under there's the gas fireplace, and then there's all the fake ashes, which is kind of messy, and then the logs.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have gotten the towel over just the bird. Like, it would have gone over the logs, and I couldn't have gotten him.
Well, I'm glad this nightmare is over.
Our long national nightmare is over.
Well, it's just your temporary nightmare that you made everybody else's nightmare.
That's true. Okay, speaking of nightmares, we're living in a nightmare as far as our privacy is concerned, and it's too late. It's too late to save ourselves. But there are not virtue signaling, maybe like performative things you can do. And so what I did yesterday is I turned off on my iPhone significant locations and routes. Because you don't have an iPhone, but if you have an iPhone, your iPhone notes where you go, how often you go. And I understand, everybody, don't at me, that Google knows way too much about me, but
I get Google reports about places I've been.
Yeah, and Google knows your passwords and has all your credit cards. I mean, it's terrifying what Google has. And I also know your cell carrier, right? Your cell carrier knows where you go. But why should Apple? So Apple iPhones, they have a thing called significant locations and routes. And what it does is it logs everywhere you go and it categorizes them. So that's why when you get in your car after work, it will say 30 minutes to home or 10 minutes to home. Or every Tuesday, if you go to a spin class, it will say 10 minutes to this, spin class location. It knows your habits, even if your habits are once a month or once every 2 months. And so I turned it off because they said, yes, while you're not invisible, you're not off the grid. Yes, your cell carrier still knows where you are, and most likely Google does too. You may as well not let Apple keep a record. So I turned off significant locations and routes, and you have to go through multiple steps. Go to settings, then to privacy and security, then to location services, then to system services, and then to significant locations and routes. And I turned it off, and I'm going to report back on if it in any way compromises the convenience of my phone or of maps. And so far, it has not. And like I said, is it really accomplishing anything? No. But does it at least remove one more company that's keeping track of everywhere I go, when I go, how long I spend there, how I get there, walking, running, driving, whatever it may be? Yeah. But I do kind of feel like it's too late. Google knows everything.
Yeah, I stopped being worried about what Google knows about where I've gone and the location services and all of that. That doesn't... To me, that doesn't really bother me. I think I understand why. I do understand why for other people it's a little too intrusive. So, yeah, but for whatever reason, I'm just not bothered by it. I guess in this case, with Google Maps, which is the same sort of thing that you're talking about, it does, and it can go back, even though I have not turned on a setting that says, hey, remember everywhere I've been.
Right.
I am aware that it knows where I have been, and occasionally will get some sort of update on places that I have gone to, which at first I thought was unnerving. I didn't know if I liked it, but now I'm just, I'm used to it.
I'm more worried about all the other information. I mean, if anyone's watching me, they're going to get bored. Yeah. And like, oh, wow, she goes to work and then she goes home.
Cardinals dropped the first game of the series to the Cubs last night. 3 left to go. Is this a trend that's going to continue? Because the Cardinals have not played well in the last couple of weeks. We will talk to Cardinals analyst for Cardinals TV, Mark Sweeney, when we come back on the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
KMOX isn't just a news station. It's where St. Louis has the conversation. The conversations happening around kitchen tables, in offices, at the ballpark, and across our neighborhoods. The things we celebrate, the things we debate, the things that matter. We're talking about you. 104.1 FM, KMOX. Join the conversation. Everyone's welcome. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
88 degrees, real feel temperature 105. If you notice that it's hazy out there, that is due to wildfire smoke. A high today of 92, tonight partly cloudy, a low of 68. Weather sponsored by Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer. Proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC, Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470. Or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Blaze Jordan swings, and he hits this ball into center field, and it's caught on the run by Pete Crow Armstrong, and this ball game has come to an end. The Cubs win Game 1 of this 4-game series 7-3.
Cardinals will pick it back up tonight. We've got a pregame show at 5:50 and then a first pitch at 6:45. It is Game 2 of 4 against the visiting Cubs at Busch Stadium. And it is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. And former Cardinal and analyst on Cardinals TV, Mark Sweeney, joins the show today. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Ron, Jamie, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Cardinals last couple of weeks, though, really since the All-Star break, have not been doing all that well. So what do you attribute that to? Is there a larger trend we should be concerned about? Is this just a blip? How do you see it?
Well, they created a chemistry at the beginning of the year that they're going to have to lean on right now. That's the reason why we say at the beginning of the year when they win close games, They built their identity. That identity has been challenged after the All-Star break because you go back to the last game of the Arizona series where they got walked off, and then they go to Anaheim. They felt like they had a game under their belts, and they have another walk-off loss. Those two were really tough, and it challenges you. They've had a struggle offensively. They haven't connected both pitching and offense in the second half, in my opinion, and they have to get back to the basics. But we understand how this team plays. They just have to go out there and really teach themselves how to win late in the season.
Speaking of being late in the season, how much does the fatigue factor or the depth factor play into struggles in the second half? And maybe do they hit the team in a different way than fans would expect?
Well, Amy, I'd say it's more mental fatigue because you can't say this youngest team in the big leagues is tired. Mm-hmm. There is an emotional component to that that you have to teach yourself, and that is taught through experience. That's what these guys are getting. They're getting experience at the toughest time. We haven't got to the dog days that they call them yet, but you also understand, too, this is kind of a sprint feeling time to a marathon season. 162 games, and learning how to navigate that is important, both individually and collectively. And I think this team is definitely teaching themselves that. The communication is already set where the coaching staff understands that. But listen, they're still understanding how to get through 162 games, most of them, on an everyday aspect. So there are challenges in front of them, and hopefully they are meeting those moving forward.
They are now an even 500 for the first time since the middle of April. They were 8-8. That's the last time this team was just at 500. So they have spent all this time over 500. And from a lot of perspectives, a lot of people think that they had been overachieving. So is that coaching staff? Is that what you would attribute that to? Is it a collection of everything? And if so, how important will the coaching staff be moving forward to try and get them out of this funk?
Yeah, Ron, they're very important. I always put it on the players. They're the ones executing it. They're the ones that are failing or succeeding. I always have that perspective, but it's a very tough game. It's hard to be consistent at this level, and that's what you're looking for. I think the coaching staff is perfect because they have communication skills and also the trust of the players. So when you are succeeding, you're magnifying that, you're understanding, you're having conversations with that. When you're failing, it's how do I get myself out of that? How do I minimize those failures is what you learn as a young player, and hopefully you take that into being more consistent. We're looking at Jordan Walker. We're also looking at J.J. Weatherholt because those are the guys that are the ones that are identifying themselves as moving forward with those type of pieces. But you also understand, too, it's 162 games. You go through struggles. You just try to minimize those as much as possible. But it's the use of the coaching staff for sure because these guys are teachers and they're also good communicators.
You know, you talk about how the coaching staff is such a great fit with this year's team. And this is kind of a 30,000-foot question. But when you hear of managers or coaches losing the clubhouse or losing the locker room, you know, in different sports, how does that happen? That a coach can be flying high with the team and going great, and then they lose the clubhouse. How do you lose a clubhouse?
Yeah, it loses the clubhouse, Amy. I mean, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because you're judged on wins and losses. Individually, you're judged of how you handle situations, how you control your emotions. You lose the clubhouse by a manager just going the wrong direction when it comes down to players, and they lose trust. But it really comes down to winning and losing. Winning cures a lot. Losing makes you question, are you doing the right things? Are they saying the right things? But that is really an individual basis. I've been around both. I've seen both. I've been able to navigate that, and we try to articulate it as much as we can. But you also got to understand, Amy, that we're not in the clubhouse when you're entering the locker room after a loss, after you're winning, and how are you celebrating. We'll never understand that because that collectively is their own individual identity. This group has shown us that when they lose, they bounce back, and that's been their identity, and that's why we've been excited about this young group. This is being challenged now because you start realizing after the All-Star break, they haven't fit into that same mold yet. They're able to do that, and I think this National League is very competitive. It has a lot of challengers for that last couple spots in the wild card race. That's going to be up in the air all the way through September.
And so now, knowing all of that, knowing how muddy that we've been using that muddy middle term to describe what a lot of the National League is, and the fact there are so many teams that are within just a couple of games of that final playoff spot. And so here are all these teams who are competitive, who know they have a shot, but the trade deadline is coming up in less than a week. So if anything's going to happen, it has to happen soon. If you're in that clubhouse and you're the coaching staff, you're the manager, how are you navigating this, knowing that your team might look a little different in a week?
Yeah, if you're a manager, you go out there and encourage these guys to win and put themselves in good positions. I mean, I think that's kind of common to know that that's your job. The front office evaluates what they're doing. If you're right around 500 in the National League, you're competitive. The Red Sox are an odd example, but they were left to dead in the month of June. Everyone was writing them off, and then they win 15 straight games. Is this roster able to win 15 games? You have to evaluate, I think, your depth pieces and how deep you are in the minor leagues. How much can you support? How much do you feel that a guy that's developed in the minor league can change a dynamic of your team? So you're evaluating all of that. I think Chaim Bloom and his staff understand what they're looking for. They've had a lot of great stories. They've had stories that really have probably disappointed them. But that's evaluating on a level that we always hear Chaim Bloom talk about. They want a consistent winning approach. They want a certain level that the Cardinals baseball, it really comes down to. They've set a tone of what they expect. They understand that from the fan base, too. They understand this fan base expects a lot, and they should, because Cardinal baseball is different than everyone else. There's some organizations that try to win, and there's other organizations that expect to win. And I think that's the formula for what the St. Louis Cardinals have to take going into this trade deadline.
So let's say they do trade Dustin May or JoJo Romero or the Riley O'Brien, any of these guys that they've got who had been trade candidates in the past. Let's say any of this does happen. Can they still compete enough to maybe sneak in at the end of the year?
Yeah, I believe they can. You always have to have that thought process, and really comes down to baseball surprises you with individual stories. So you never know what someone's going to come up and do. You never know how many people are going to be having that hot stretch at the end of the season. We always talk about how guys get off to a good start in April, and then they formulate, well, if they hit this way the whole year, they're going to have 48 home runs. That doesn't really come into fruition. When you come down to it, Ron, it's the guys that play the best baseball at the end of the year at the most pressured times that you're looking for. You're looking for guys that do not give in, and they understand they're in a playoff race, and they're succeeding, and they're getting better. You're seeing development at the big league level. That's what you're looking for. Hopefully they have those cases. But yes, I believe that if they trade off pieces, I think they can compete. I mean, this is a National League that have good teams out there, but everyone has their weaknesses. And you look at it whenever you're playing them. We played the Cubs in July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and the Cardinals looked like they were dominating the Chicago Cubs. They even had a chance of winning that third game and sweeping them at Wrigley. That's what you're looking for when you're playing teams that are in the race.
In your career, are there guys that come to mind that were that second half guy for you? as far as who exemplified that type of player?
Yeah, if you look in St. Louis, I mean, it was when Ozzie and Willie were doing their thing. We would have communications. We'd have meetings about it. But you'd see guys step up like a Brian Jordan or even if it was a Ray Lankford. These are guys that when you're on the roster, you're watching how they go about their business. And you have a tough loss, and all of a sudden they're coming in and they have a little more energy, a little more pep in their step, and all of a sudden they're coming up with a game winner that night. It really evolves with a roster, but as a young player and you have some veteran presence on your team, you get to watch that. And that's how I evolved as a player. That's how I watched certain guys. And honestly, that's how I talk about certain players in certain situations when we're doing the broadcasting.
That was my first. I shouldn't say my first. That was one of my favorite outfields, though, that Gant, Lankford, Jordan outfield.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
That was fun, man. Mid-90s.
And Willie is your fourth outfielder? That's pretty good.
That was great. And Willie was my favorite player growing up. So.
That's like the baseball's version of your foxhole friends, like the phrase a foxhole friend. That's what those guys are.
That's right.
Guys, I'll tell you this. Honestly, that team, we had a lot of dynamics. There was a lot of star power. It was, when you talk about those names, it was really fun because we got to have little conversations with the talent that we were just talking about. And Brian Jordan was unbelievable. Ozzie Smith took me under my wing because Royce Clayton was there.
Yeah.
And you're starting to realize that I'm over the railing talking to the best shortstop ever. And he's giving me knowledge of how to handle situations. And it really comes down to that's your broadcasting style and who you talk through, because it's all of that knowledge that a lot of people have given me. And coupled with the experience that you go through in Major League Baseball, it was really special.
Yeah, I should clarify that was one of my favorite outfields, Jordan, Gant, and Lankford, and also Mark Sweeney. So I just want to make sure that you know.
Hey, Raj, we know this. A fifth outfielder is not someone's favorite. I mean,
you're in the mix, though. Never.
You're in the team photo.
That's right.
Right. Amy, you are so right. I am involved, and I'm in that photo. Yes, for sure. I love that.
Thank you again, Mark. We appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
That is former Cardinal, and he is an analyst on Cardinals TV, Mark Sweeney. He's fantastic. I love that guy. It's the Chris and Amy show on KMOX. How long would you commute to go to work? How about 2 hours a day? Would you do that? Let's find out.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now. trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. The $5,000 sweepstakes is back with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Since 1926, celebrating 100 years. The genuine, the original Overhead Door. That's where winners go.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
And Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty. The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
So, you, Ron, I'm assuming you being a sports guy, you heard the news about LeBron James.
Who?
The basketball player, LeBron James. He's pretty
LeBron
famous.
James. Yeah.
Might be the most famous.
Second best player of all time.
To Michael Jordan. I said Michael Jackson. Michael Jordan.
Yep.
So he'll be playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. Big breaking news this week. However, he lives in New York City, and I think it might have been Barstool. It was the first to report it. That's where I saw it. But Barstool says that LeBron James is going to live in New York City and commute to Philly every day by helicopter, because it's like a 2-hour drive, I guess, from New York City to Philadelphia.
Yeah, right now, if you take 95,
okay,
it is an hour and 52 minutes.
So they're calling it, Barstool called it Air Force Braun, which is pretty good.
It's pretty funny. But it was funny. Just to make it clear, it was Shams Charania. That's who reported that he might be doing the New York to Philadelphia commute.
So how do you... I mean, I'm not a person who gets upset about a lot of things like this. I get upset about little things like gum disease. But with this type of thing, I just feel like, well, it's not fuel efficient. Probably.
So, no, it's not fuel efficient.
It's kind of, I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of like, was it the Starbucks CEO that was flying from Seattle to California and California to Seattle on a private jet? I mean...
Well, as you say that,
yeah,
the reporting was that he is considering using a helicopter to commute to and from Philadelphia, which is a 45-minute trip. Now, we had a texter who reached out at 314-436-7900, says 2 hours a day, pretty normal. I know someone who commutes almost 5 hours every day. Home prices are no joke. Yeah, okay, I get that you can't really afford to buy a new home. You got a new job. You don't really have much of a choice. You can't relocate closer because it is that expensive. This would be 2 hours each way. However, if he's taking a helicopter, then that dramatically reduces the time. And the other thing about that is it's LeBron James who's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's the only billionaire in the league right now.
Okay.
He's the only guy worth $1 billion that is currently playing in the NBA. He'll be okay if he pays for a helicopter.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
And he's also taking a league veteran minimum contract of $8 million. So it's a $48 million pay cut for him.
Is it kind of insulting Philly?
Kinda. If I were a Philadelphia fan, I'd be like, what the hell? Just stay here. You're fine, dude.
I would feel hurt if someone didn't stay in St. Louis.
Is coffee good for you?
Yes.
We have definitive research. Definitive research. Dr. F. Perry Wilson will tell us all about it when we come back on KMOX.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness, so you can smell unstoppable.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your Politicians Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the Politicians Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside 4 and 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the Politicians Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
It is 11 o'clock and cloudy with 89 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, and St. Louis City is receiving additional funding from FEMA.
The funding is nearly $3 million and will go towards keeping the case managers who are assisting tornado victims employed.
Mayor Kara Spencer says those employees were previously paid for by the city, and those funds were running dry.
The funding that we had allocated here locally was really set to sunset here or run out in August, and so this allows us to keep that work going.
However, how far will it go to help speed up the case manager workload? Mayor Spencer said there are about 1,200 individuals in the system with only 10 case managers. Spencer could not say if these funds will allow them to hire more case managers. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Apple is taking a page out of the car dealership playbook with its new leasing strategy. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
iPhones, iPads, Mac computers, and Apple Watches will soon be available to lease under the new Apple Upgrade program. The tech giant says lease terms will run between 12 and 36 months with no fees or interest payments. The program will be operated by Klarna. At the end of the term, customers can buy their device at the list price, upgrade to a newer model, or walk away.
1 in 5 parents expects their kids to cover some back-to-school costs, according to a survey released this morning. Adriana Ocañas is a consumer credit card analyst at U.S. News & World Report.
But that actually changes a little bit depending on the angle that you look at it, because we also found that 48% of parents and guardians plan to reduce spending. And so when we ask those parents, do you expect your children to help out, that number bumps up a little bit to more 3 in 10 versus 1 in 5. So parents are really feeling it this year with their budget.
Those parents say they need help because the cost of everything else is going up, not just school supplies. Against the backdrop of the U.S.-Iran war, consumer confidence has fallen for a third straight month.
The Conference Board asks Americans for their assessment of current economic conditions and how they're feeling about the short-term future. For the third consecutive month, the Present Situation Index has fallen, while the Expectations Index has remained steady. Looking ahead, the Conference Board finds that consumers anticipate little improvement in business conditions over the next 6 months. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
By the way, you can contact St. Louis County 911 now via text. County police ask texters to include their location, type of emergency, and important details. Do not send photos or video.
A heat advisory continues till 7 this evening. An extreme heat warning for areas south and east of Metro St. Louis. Hazy sunshine, hot and humid this afternoon, high 92 with AccuWeather real fuel temperatures topping 105. Partly cloudy tonight, but cooler than last night, though 71. More sunshine tomorrow and less humidity, the high 88. Thursday, sun and some clouds, high 89. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have mostly cloudy skies right now and 89 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Chris Raunchy, Amy Mark Scores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, and it is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line this morning, and we welcome in, I think this is a friend of the show.
Oh, 100%.
Director of the Clinical and Translational Research Accelerator at Yale University, co-host of the podcast Wellness Actually with Emily Oster. We have Dr. F. Perry Wilson joining us on KMOX. Dr. Wilson, how you doing?
I'm great. An absolutely friend of the show. I mean... Best friend of the show. Friend with benefits of the show.
Exactly what I'm looking for right now. So that's perfect.
We go back to the COVID years when I was doing my little show, Ranj, and Dr. Wilson would join me. And I'm pretty sure that those interviews would just turn into doctor's appointments for me. Like I would ask very specific questions about running and COVID and the vaccine. But Dr. Wilson was very gracious. And he also runs, so he gets it.
I get it. I don't run as fast as you, though.
Well, speaking of just doing a very personal doctor's visit, let's start with coffee because I am a huge coffee drinker. And, you know, there are certain areas like St. Louis or even in, the East Coast where they say if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. And I kind of feel like if you don't like the latest study on coffee, wait 5 minutes, because I feel like every few months we go back and forth. Coffee's good for you. Coffee's bad for you. You can have 1 cup. You can have 5 cups. But there was a really interesting and very specific coffee study that you had on like a whole thread on it on Twitter recently about paper filters and how you brew your coffee might change if coffee's good or bad for you.
It's so interesting. This all stems from a big piece of news, which is that the American Heart Association came out with a official statement on caffeine. And it's a very long paper, actually, summarizing a lot of evidence. But if I were to break it down, I would say that the AHA comes out firmly in favor of coffee in terms of, being a relatively heart healthy and pleasant thing to intake, and probably not so much in terms of drinks that aren't coffee that have a lot of caffeine in them, like, energy drinks and stuff like that. But the one interesting study that popped out there was looking at the chemicals in coffee, because of course coffee is not just hot brown caffeine liquid. It's got a bunch of things in there. It comes from a plant, it has plant polyphenols. And there's one chemical in coffee that in a randomized trial was shown to raise LDL cholesterol, sort of the bad cholesterol. Think of it as an antistatin or something like that. But it turns out this chemical is adsorbed into paper filters. So if your coffee's passing through a paper filter, it's not in the cup that you're drinking, and the LDL doesn't go up at all. This is a problem for me because I actually don't use paper filters. I have one of those permanent filters that, you just kind of rinse out. But maybe I got to start using paper filters. I don't know. Are you a French press person?
I have one.
Yeah.
But I don't, a French press is a whole ordeal. So, you got to really commit to doing it that day. So I'm a paper filter. What about?
I had a permanent filter up until this year, and I started using a paper filter. So I guess,
and I've had a permanent filter too, like the metal ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we got to invest a little bit.
What about? And I don't know if this was covered or not. There are bleached white paper filters, and then there are the more brown paper, natural, I guess, recycled paper filters. Yeah. Does it matter?
They didn't investigate that specifically. So I think feels like if you're going to have a nice healthy cup of coffee, you probably want to use some natural paper, right? Don't get those other bleaching chemicals in the cup. That would make sense to me, but no data on that.
I do think Starbucks uses paper filters for their drip coffee, I believe.
That would make sense because it feels like at the very least quicker to clean and put a new one in, right?
So interesting. And so we also know that with coffee, coffee drinkers have lower risk of stroke and maybe some other issues that crop up over time, right?
Yeah, this AHA statement reviewed all that data. And, in the past, there'd been a concern that coffee might be bad for your heart. It would increase blood pressure. Maybe it would cause arrhythmias, right? Abnormal heart rhythms. It turns out that what the data shows is pretty much the opposite. For habitual coffee drinkers, drinking coffee doesn't significantly raise blood pressure. In fact, it reduces it a little bit. That's not the case for people who never drink coffee. If you give someone who never drinks coffee a coffee, their blood pressure will go up a little bit, but that effect goes away once you're a regular drinker. And really surprisingly, in terms of atrial fibrillation, which is the most common arrhythmia, coffee intake in people who are at risk for this arrhythmia seemed to decrease the rate of abnormal heart rhythms. And so overall, it's looking pretty good. The AHA does say up to 5 cups a day are safe. I think if you're drinking more than 5 cups of coffee today, I don't know, maybe you got something else going on. You got to see if you're not sleeping enough at night.
So 5 cups, a cup is 8 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how they were defining it. Yeah.
So that would be
not 5 of the giant
right.
I was
novelty
told there would
mugs.
be no math.
Yeah. Okay, can I throw in a quick question about the diabetes paradox, as you note?
Yeah, absolutely.
So coffee impairs glucose tolerance. Is that correct?
Correct. In the short term, if you give someone a cup of coffee and then you do a formal glucose tolerance test, their blood sugar will be a bit higher. But what's strange, or the paradox, is that habitual coffee drinkers have a significantly lower risk of developing diabetes compared to people who don't drink coffee. And that's possible because some of the longer term effects of coffee are favorable on glucose profile. It's also pretty well established that coffee and, to be fair, caffeine too, can increase your exercise capacity, at least acutely. And so, as a runner, at least when you're doing short distances, Amy, you might notice you can push yourself a little harder after a cup of coffee than you could otherwise, and that might be protective in the long run.
Yeah, well, my carb gels that I take, I have caffeinated carb gels. So there's like a little gel packet that has like 50 grams of carbs, 100 milligrams of caffeine, and you're taking that. And I want to ask, we're going to get into another really interesting topic that you covered. Now, this was a while ago, but it blew my mind about like the placebo effect with knee surgeries. But kind of before we get to that specifically, kind of looking at coffee, or maybe what you would call a vice, like a cup of wine. I often justify a vice like a drink or some coffee with the fact that it makes me so happy. I love the ritual of coffee, hearing it brew, the smell, pouring the cream in it, seeing the coffee change color. It makes me so happy. It's such a treat that I'm like, certainly all of those good feelings and good emotions flooding through my body, they might kind of compensate for any ill effects. Is there something to that a glass of wine, while maybe it might not be the healthiest thing for you, if you get so much joy out of the whole ritual of it, it can be beneficial?
I love this question because I feel the same. I feel the same way. In fact, I prepare the coffee the night before. Like I have it on a timer, so it goes off in the morning. And I even like that at the end of the night, being like, okay, don't worry. However bad this day went, at least tomorrow morning there'll be coffee when you wake up.
Yes, it's so mental. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it's mental, all right.
This new podcast I have with Emily Oster called Wellness actually focuses on a variety of like wellness trends and tries to actually give you data, real hard data to make informed decisions. And just this week, we released our episode on alcohol. And I came to the same conclusion at the end of that episode, which is that, can I say that it's going to protect your heart and you're going to live longer with a glass of wine a night? No, I can't. However, things like this in life are important. Life is for the living. None of us are going to live forever. And if it gives you happiness, if it gives you some joy, a glass or two of wine isn't going to kill you either.
And to that point, I just saw, and I don't know if this was research or somebody just saying it, but I saw this recently that there is some sort of psychological benefit of sitting at a bar. Of going to a bar and sitting there and then just having all of your stuff that you're dealing with melt away. That to an extent, I guess there is a relief in a relaxation that comes with sitting at a bar. And I don't know again if there's actual research for that, but
I don't know off the top of my head, but there's some culture like that's very British, right? At the end of the day, everyone stops at the pub on the way home. We don't do that as much here, but I've always been a little bit jealous. It seems fun.
And Dr. Wilson, last thing about the coffee, all these benefits. This is coffee with caffeine, right? The decaffeinated stuff does not have the same effect.
Hasn't been as well studied, to be honest, but I think a fair amount of the effect you're seeing is actually mediated by caffeine and the increased energy, the sort of different metabolic profile that you get from caffeine. But to be fair, there's a lot of other compounds in coffee that are in decaffeinated coffee. It's a plant-based food, more or less. And so there might be some benefit from decaf as well.
Okay, this is the clip, and this is from your Wellness Actually podcast. Is it Oster? Emily Oster.
Oster.
Oster. Yep.
Emily Oster.
With Emily Oster. Yep. And this blew my mind that sham or fake knee surgeries can be effective in helping people feel better, meaning just cutting into someone's knee, but not really doing anything, but telling them they were in knee surgery actually saw some beneficial effects of people getting better with knee injuries. Or knee pain? Is this right?
I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? So we were doing an episode on dry needling
Yes.
And
yeah.
for those of you who don't know, dry needling, it sounds a bit like acupuncture, but it's a little deeper than that. It's basically taking a needle and sticking it into a joint or some area that there's pain, and it's dry. You don't inject anything. That you just stick the needle in and kind of move it around and then stick it out. And so I was digging through all the data about like, okay, does this work? Can this work? Is it just placebo effects? And there's a really rich literature for knee osteoarthritis. It's a very common problem. Lots of us have knee pain as we get older. And it's pretty easy to stick a needle in the knee joint and inject some steroids or some lidocaine or something, and people get a lot of relief from that. But we do worry anytime pain is the outcome, we have to think about placebo effects, because the brain is an incredibly powerful organ. And if you truly believe you're going to feel better, a lot of times you do. And so trials initially compared things like steroid injections to just saline injections, salt water. And many of them found that both groups improved significantly. So then people started thinking, okay, maybe the salt water does something, it gets absorbed, but it just kind of lubricates things a little bit and people feel better. So then they started doing, okay, salt water versus nothing. Like we'll stick a needle in, but not inject anything. And that's essentially dry needling. And they saw similar effects. People still got better, even just with a needle stuck into the knee. And, the real tension here is, okay, does that mean that the act of sticking a needle in, even if you're not injecting anything, just kind of angers up the space enough? Maybe it causes some inflammation that then calls other stuff to the site that might make things get better. I don't know. You can kind of wave your hands and imagine something is happening, versus the ritual, as you say, Amy, the procedure itself, the sort of medical nature of it, the needle going in, the fear that's associated with that creates a belief system that promotes the placebo effect. And I think the dry needling industry is leaning on there's real biological effects here by violating the space with a needle, even if we're not injecting anything. But it's awful hard to untie from what can be very powerful placebo effects in this space.
That is so interesting. So, how much more research would need to be done there for you or for the wider community to feel like, okay, there is something there. There is some medical effect of having a needle jammed into my knee with no medicine given?
Doctors come down on two different sides here, and I'm on the pragmatist side. If it makes patients feel better and it's relatively safe, I'm all for it. And if, whether it's due to placebo effects in your brain kind of convincing you don't have pain, or if there's some local effect, does it matter? Like, you feel better, you can walk around easier, I'm okay with that. I think really what matters is when new drugs are developed, especially things that are going to be much more expensive than injecting nothing. You have some new fancy substance that they want to inject in your knee. They need to compare it to, they can't compare it to nothing. They have to do what's called a sham surgery or a sham injection, where unbeknownst to the person, a needle goes in the knee and nothing is being injected, a real placebo-controlled trial. Because when placebo effects are really strong, you need to control for them really aggressively, or else we're going to end up approving a bunch of super expensive drugs that are no better than injecting nothing.
And just to be clear, they did do knee surgeries where they just cut someone open? Wow.
They've also done that. Yeah. There's a lot more data in the injections, because it's obviously not quite as dramatic as taking people to the operating room, but they have done actual sham knee surgeries versus regular knee surgeries for osteoarthritis, and also show significant improvements in pain. Like, they didn't get a knee replacement, they didn't get any messing with the cartilage, but pain still improves substantially afterwards. It's the power of the mind.
Wow.
Dr. F. Perry Wilson also wanted to get into the new pancreatic cancer research with you, but I feel like that's a longer conversation now, and we're running out of it. So maybe we can talk again very soon on that, because I'm really interested to see where that research is going.
Oh, it's so exciting. I'd love to. It's really great news for a cancer that's been, really an incredibly tough one for us for forever.
Well, since you're a friend of the show, that means you have to come on again very soon.
So, sounds good.
For no extra pay.
But we do tell people about Wellness Actually with
Yes.
Dr. F. Perry Wilson and
Yes.
Emily Oster. You should definitely listen to it. Follow them on Twitter, on Instagram, because whenever their clips pop up, it's always something that really catches your attention, like the placebo effect on knee surgeries or coffee with paper filters. You guys hit some really interesting topics and do such a great job.
Thanks so much.
Director of the Clinical and Translational Research Accelerator at Yale University. And that podcast that Amy mentioned is called Wellness Actually with Emily Oster. Dr. F. Perry Wilson with us on KMOX.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Trisha Burns never answers the call. Trisha Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Trisha Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Trisha Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Trisha Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Trisha Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it. I know I do. Go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
Built on a century. Focused on today. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
We always love to hear from you at 314-436-7900. 618 says, some people go to a temple to meditate. Chris Ranji goes to the bar. Got it. I will say...
Hey, I'm just telling you what the research or that person I saw...
Yeah, but I
That's what they
believe
said.
it because I was actually talking to Matt about, the interview during the break on how the ritual of coffee is so important to me. I love making the coffee in the morning, that not doing it would actually be really sad. And because I have stomach issues and I can't really drink at all anymore, I actually, as someone who doesn't even drink that much, I miss the ritual of having, a drink with friends when you go out or you get together. Like I loved really good bourbon or really good tequila. And especially like in the winter, you go out on a Saturday night and you like, I want to try this new bourbon, and you sit with your friends, and I think especially even with bourbon, it kind of has a elegant, refined flair to it. And I miss that because I do think that's community, and there's a shared experience in doing that in the same way that going to a bar and sitting there with your friends, that I 100% believe that it can be really, really beneficial. Obviously, I'm not saying go out and get wasted every night, but sharing a drink with friends, that makes sense to me.
There is something about, going into the bar, meeting your friends there, sitting down at the bar, and getting that first one.
It's kind of a treat.
It's like, here you go. It's like, okay, we're going to have a good time. It feels like the start of something fun.
And I think because most people don't drink on the job, that it also is something that we recognize that this is something you do when you're not working. This is purely fun, good time, recreation, hanging out. It's not, there's no correlation to work with it.
Right. So you have it,
It just
and
is
it's
it's a signifier
That's right.
of work is done, is my point.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I love coming to work. Yeah. It's my favorite.
Make work. Work is your new favorite.
Work is my new favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make work fun? Again?
Make MWFA.
So our very own Sean Malone was at was it a press conference? Do we want to call it a press conference?
Yeah, it was a presser.
Press conference about FEMA money, the funding, and how it's going to assist residents here in St. Louis impacted by last year's tornado. And we will talk to Sean about that when we come back on KMOX.
Make work your favorite. That's your favorite, okay? Okay. Work is your new favorite.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio. 104.1 FM KMOX. All access with Ollie Marble on the Gas House Gang.
I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group. This group fits my personality to a T. I love what we're doing. I love how we're going about it. I love the honest conversations. I love the grit. And there's been certain times where I've caught myself where bases are loaded, our back's up against the wall, and I can't help but smile. I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group.
Ollie Marble, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
Create the deck of your dreams with Menards. Build your outdoor project from the largest in-stock selection of AC2 lumber and thick decking. All pressure treated for enhanced durability. And it's easy to load in our drive-through lumber yard. Plus, get free estimates with our easy-to-use deck design program. Available in-store or on Menards.com. Save big on AC2 pressure-treated lumber and thick decking. Plus, check out our weekly flyer online for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
91 degrees, real field temperature 108. Humid and hazy because of that wildfire smoke. A high of 92. Tonight, partly cloudy. A low of 68. Weather sponsored by i3 Broadband. Summer celebrations are here, and i3 Broadband keeps you connected. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 1-866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Today,
the Cards, the Cubs.
Ameren Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX. Now, Chris and Amy visit with the KMOX newsroom.
We mentioned that earlier this morning. Mayor Kara Spencer held a press conference about the $2.9 million in FEMA funding that is on its way to the city of St. Louis to help residents who were impacted by the May 16th tornado and, well, over a year ago. And KMOX reporter Sean Malone joins us in studio to recap that press conference, what we found out, maybe what we didn't find out. Sean, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
All right. So the $2.9 million, this is all money that is still yet to make its way to St. Louis. Is that correct?
Sort of. I guess the best way to describe this money is it's going to keep things going as they are right now. This money isn't necessarily going to change anything, but it would prevent negative changes from happening. So the $2.9 million is going to go towards the case managers that are helping victims of the tornado navigate the various and vast number of funding options that are available. Not saying there's a robust amount of funding available, but you got funding from FEMA, from the state, from the city, multiple application processes. It's a lot to try to figure out. So this funding for the case managers initially funded by the city was set to sunset next month. So the case managers were just not going to be paid or not continued anymore. FEMA is now stepping in with nearly $3 million to continue funding these case managers through next year. So about June of next year is when that funding's set to expire. So another year of these case managers helping people navigate all these different options that they have. If they get rejected, what do they do to appeal? Things of that nature. So it's not really changing anything.
Okay.
And even you look at the price tag, $3 million, when we've talked before about the billions of dollars it's going to take for the city to recover from this. Just the volume of money isn't really changing all that much, but it is going to help continue keeping those case managers available to help people that are still navigating the recovery fund process.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, that makes sense that number is far too low to make a huge difference, but this cash is not clearing trees and debris. This cash is paying case managers. Regarding the multi-step process, I don't know if this was covered or if you know this off the top of your head from previous reporting, but I know a huge issue specifically for the homes hit in North City, that there are some families where homes were passed down through generations. They didn't have titles. They don't have, they not only do not have insurance, but they don't have titles. And is that type of, deed/title paperwork necessary to get FEMA money?
I'm not sure, but people who would or at least should know are those case managers that we talked about. Because that's their whole job is to help you navigate, something like this. If you go and say, this was, a home that was in my family for 4 generations. I don't know where the title is right now. Or even if you're an elderly person that, you got the title when you bought the home 60 years ago and you're 80 something now and you don't know where you put it. Was it, you check your bank thinking it was maybe in a safe deposit box. It wasn't there. Finding out what do I do? Can I use other documents instead? If I can show, and this isn't necessarily the answer, but maybe the case manager can turn around and say, yeah, here, if you can provide these forms that show, the mortgage company you've been making payments to, plus 2 other bills that you've been sent, proof of home ownership or that you're living there, something like that maybe could be an answer. That's where those professionals come in to kind of, like I said, help you navigate the process of, especially when situations like that arise where, the unique ones that you're not going to find an answer by Googling it. You need to a person that is in the weeds that knows these answers. You need someone to reach out to directly.
So with this, with this announcement happening today, is there a time window, an allocation time window when they expect all of this to be done?
It's like I said before, it's kind of just keeping things going as they are. I did try to ask one interesting question I had was when it came up the amount of workload that these case managers have. And I got some updated numbers from the city versus the reports that we've been running so far through the morning. But Mayor Spencer's estimated off the top of her head, there are about 1,200 total people that were in the application process at any given point to about 10 case managers. And that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, the updated numbers that literally minutes before jumping on the air I received is the total number of cases was just shy of 1,600. But open cases, there's 540 of them. So a lot of those cases have since been closed. A few dozen people were ineligible for some of the help they were hoping to receive, but hundreds of others have been closed at this point. But there's still a large number of open cases and cases in review right now, waiting to find out if they are eligible for any kind of funding and when they'll receive it, what more they might need, things like that. So, but I asked, could we see this funding not just keeping the program going, keeping the case managers going, but providing for more case managers so people can get answers in a more timely manner. And you don't have one person handling dozens, if not hundreds of cases at a time. And the mayor said that she wasn't really sure at this time. She hopes to have more details on that, how exactly they can spend it in the coming days. But that might be the biggest difference that people might feel is if the city can hire more case managers. And it'll be tough for those people sitting there that now have a new case manager that maybe you've built a rapport with over the past year, that sees your number and recognizes you. You might have a new case manager that's handling you, but that might, if that gets you answers in a more timely manner, I think that's probably the biggest impact that could come out of this, but we don't know if that'll be the case.
Will case managers physically go to the property for the families or the people that they're helping?
I'm not sure. I don't know the extent of what work they do. I know the objective of it at the end of the day. I imagine if not them, inspectors and things like that, if they haven't already, will go out to see what the damage looks like and things of that nature.
Yeah, because I would think that, especially if you don't have a title or paperwork, what does that email even look like? Just, hey, my house was damaged. You would think that you would need some kind of documentation, even if it's just pictures of your house, or have an inspector then go out to that property to make sure that not only that people are getting help, but that the right people are getting help. Someone not trying to abuse the system.
It's a fair question because you mentioned abusing the system. We just saw, similar situation not too long ago with the ARPA money that was going towards North City business grants. And some of those businesses that were preliminarily approved, none of the checks were cut, but they at least got through that initial round of approval. Checks on them were clearly not done. When you had a school that was not a school, it was an empty shack that a person had hoped to turn into a school. When you had, I think there was one, the Negro Baseball Hall of Fame or museum or something like that, that just absolutely did not exist. These people got preliminary approval. Yeah. Now, again, the SLDC has said that no checks were cut to those businesses. That was just the first round of approval, but it's still one of those, after a situation like that, when you've got a tornado that came through, not just making sure the money doesn't go to the wrong people, but these finite resources, because we've talked plenty of times about how from all sources combined, local, state, federal, philanthropic dollars, none of it's enough to total the billions that the city needs to recover. You want to make sure that money is going to the right people at the end of the day.
And also, when people do put in these phony claims or there's any kind of fraud, it backs up the entire process because they have to be vetted.
And that's what the case managers are doing. The case managers are going through, these people that say they need help because they believe they're entitled to some of this money. And if they're not, because they're committing fraud and don't live in the city or North City where the tornado had struck, and they live nearby and they're hoping they can just pull a fast one and get some, you're right, that backs the process up as well. And that slows the response time that someone who's sitting there living in a home that is severely damaged, that that's more time that they could be helped instead of the people that are potentially committing fraud. So I would imagine they're doing their due diligence and making sure this money's going to the right people, especially when Mayor Kara Spencer, that North City grant program, she made that a real crudgel during her campaign, constantly attacked Tashara Jones about it. And eventually, one of the first things she did when she came into office, used that as a means to oust Neil Richardson, the CEO of the St. Louis Development Corporation, because of how that program was handled.
Other than this topic of the FEMA money, anything else noteworthy come out of the press conference?
I did ask if there was any update with the Community Development Block Grants, which is the grants that has come really to a focal point in the campaign between Wesley Bell and Cori Bush, because Bell has not secured that funding for the city yet. And that's funding that under Bush, St. Louis was able to secure in similar disasters like the flood of 2022. St. Louis got $110 million to help people rebuild their homes. That money, it's sitting at zero right now for the city. They haven't gotten that money yet. So I asked to see if there was any kind of update in that. No update at this time. Unfortunately, for those who are hoping to get this kind of money, that after their home's been demolished, some funding to help them rebuild their home. So, more just in terms of that area funding, more wait and see for tornado victims as they hope that something sometime soon can get passed to get them what could easily be, as I mentioned before, hundreds of millions of dollars that the city has previously seen for similar disasters.
We were talking earlier about the Sheriff Montgomery, the sheriff's deputy, James Short, who had been arrested because he had a relationship with an inmate, a female inmate, and he got into trouble over that because you're not supposed to do that.
Well, keep in mind, and I don't know if you guys mentioned this is what led to the detainment of Tammy Ross.
Right, because Sheriff Montgomery came to talk to the inmate. I don't know why, but he came over just, I guess, throw his weight around. And Tammy Ross said, no, you can't. Let me talk to legal. So he leaves, comes back the next day with more people, and then he puts her in cuffs.
Yes.
Right? Which he had no authority to do whatsoever.
Nope. Not according to Steve Omer, who removed him from office.
We were having this conversation, and I wondered, whatever happened to that SUV he bought?
I don't know, but just knowing how car buying works, like you drive it off the lot and you lose
Right,
30% value or something
correct.
like that. I don't think, especially after it's been driven for a period of time, whether it's the city or interim sheriff John Hayden Jr. could go back and say, "Hi, I'd like to return this. Could I have a receipt? Are you guys still accepting this in partially used condition, like new?" Certified pre-owned, you could just reverse it. Yeah, reverse pre-loved.
Yeah.
I think certified pre-owned is like the fancy word that dealerships use for just used.
Clearly, they're using it.
Yes, it's been driven.
I just want to see it.
So also,
I'm going to see how good it is.
It's probably just your regular. I don't think from the outside
grunge.
looking in, it
There's
wouldn't
no way
look
to
any
know.
different than any other. Like if they were to buy a 2027 line, I guess it would be out now.
He
I don't
wants
think
to
it would look
buy
any
it.
different.
I want to buy it.
he wants to buy it. He
Yeah.
thinks that would
Like
be
at
fun.
original face value,
No.
or for what the Kelly Blue Book would have it as.
Not
now?
even the blue book. I just want. I want
You
a
want
deal.
a bargain?
Yeah.
I want a deal. And
For supporting the sheriff.
Well, it's not his to sell anymore.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
Well, we also may have given the impression that the sheriff bought the golf carts to transfer prisoners and to and from, the courthouse or the hospital, which we thought was thinking out of the box for prisoner transfer.
Right.
Can you confirm or deny that the golf carts were for the prisoners?
They are not for transporting prisoners. I don't know if you've seen golf carts before, but in terms of
that's why
containing
we
people
said.
inside of them, they're not ideal.
That's why we said it's out of the box thinking. We thought it made it a little more exciting.
It's out on the run thinking.
I see no problem with it. You handcuff them to both because they're posts, because there's going to be a roof.
That's going to look so
You handcuff
bad.
so they're one arm on each post, and then you drive them to wherever they have to go. And hope you don't.
I'm
just
sure
think
the
golf cart.
no one is going to be protesting Sheriff Ranji for just cuffing people in the open air
I
to the
think
back of his golf
Well, at
cart
any
and
rate,
driving
you
them
can
around St.
pretend
Louis
like this
City.
is not a good idea, but
We're ideas people, Sean, and we just want to say St. Louis could have been known for really like I said, innovative thinking.
like a second arch.
Yes.
yeah.
Which is a good idea.
That
Well-
should be your next March Madness bracket. It should be like the Chris and Amy show ideas that you guys have had. Transporting detainees via golf carts.
Yeah.
We better start thinking
Using
now,
the
'cause I
Ram
don't-
settlement money for a second arch.
And that's either the second arch directly beneath the first arch, just slightly smaller, or on the Missouri River side. So it's like wickets,
Wickets.
like in croquet.
I get it.
That you would go through the
Just to
Mississippi
span
arch
the river.
and then the Missouri arch.
The gateway to further west.
Further west.
Wester.
All of St. Louis is between the wickets.
Sean Malone, we appreciate your reporting.
Anytime, guys.
Thanks for coming in. From the KMOX newsroom, Sean Malone. He is on top of it. Pretty
As
much
are we,
everything. He's
yeah.
on top of pretty much everything. On 104.1 FM KMOX.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Tired of your phone bill constantly going up? Stop the madness with Boost Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month. No contracts, no catches. And that $25 price is locked in forever. Switch to Boost Mobile today.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
There's a saying,
It takes a group of good men to build a barn, and only one to tear it down. Well, a few Jeff City politicians are at it again, tearing things down with Amendment 5 and Amendment 4. No on 5 and 4. 5 takes our money with higher sales taxes, higher taxes on gas, guns, and groceries, a sales tax hike on rent and diesel, seed and feed. 4 takes away our constitutional right to vote and go around the establishment politicians and to stop higher taxes. Takes away our safety valve, a vote of the people to stop or reverse a dumb idea like the everything tax. I'm a no. A heck no. No. No on Amendment 5. No on Amendment 4. No on both 4 and 5. Paid for by no on the everything tax.
Hey, it's Brew. Between my radio show, filming content, editing videos, and trying to stay connected with family, reliable Wi-Fi isn't really optional anymore. I just need it to work. And that's why I like that with Xfinity, you get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years, guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, Xfinity makes getting connected simple with same-day Wi-Fi so you can get online in minutes. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Breaking news. Missouri will vote on Amendment 4 this August. Right now, a ballot measure passes in Missouri if it gets a majority of votes statewide. Amendment 4 would permanently end that. If Amendment 4 passes, it would rewrite the Missouri Constitution. So instead of using the total statewide vote to decide if something is approved, a measure would need to win a majority of votes separately in each of Missouri's 8 congressional districts in order to pass. So one district could veto the will of most Missourians. That means with Amendment 4, just 5% of voters could overrule what the majority of Missouri citizens want. Opponents of Amendment 4 say it undermines the sacred principle of one person, one vote, and takes away the people's power, giving it to politicians and special interests instead. Protect majority rule. Vote no on Amendment 4. Paid for by Protect Majority Rule Missouri, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I'm working on getting approval to broadcast live from the Soulard dirt pile.
From the giant pile of dirt?
Yes. From Mount Soulard at 7th and Shenandoah, the eyesore that's been condemned by the city of St. Louis and JLN Soulard Properties continues to dump dirt there, just paying the fine and dumping dirt. So I think we should broadcast from there.
I took a jaunt to go see it, and it is it's a pretty good sized pile of dirt, and there's a huge excavator on top of it.
Are they getting rid of it?
I don't know. It was just sitting on top. There was a guy inside.
Really? Did you ask him which way he's going?
No, he was in the middle of the lot. I didn't go up to him, but I looked at it and I thought, oh, that it was a huge excavator. It wasn't one of those small ones.
Was there a ancillary dump truck into which he could toss the dirt? What was he doing?
There was a truck that was sitting on the street. There was nobody in that truck, though. So he was just sitting. It wasn't moving.
What if it was a one-man operation where he has to use the excavator to get the dirt in the dump truck, and then he has to drive the dump truck?
Well, That might have been what was going on.
Can you please check on this after work today?
Yeah, I'm going to go by and find out what's happening because I think we all need to know. I think the people deserve to know.
They do. They do deserve to know. Just like they deserve to know the bird that was in my fireplace has been rescued and is back with his family. And that because it is Tuesday, my friend Ollie Marmol is joining the Gas House Gang.
That's right. Oliver Marmol coming up, and he will be with us at 12. So that's just a little bit after 12, right after the news. So Ollie's got the first half hour of the show, along with Tom Ackerman, Bernie Miklasz, and me. And plenty to get into. Cardinals dropped that first one against the Cubs last night. 3 more games left to go. And we have the pregame show at 5:50 and then the first pitch at 6:45. So really hoping that this is not the beginning of a real slide.
It's not.
For the Redbirds.
You got to keep your chin up, kiddo.
No, it's not my chin. I'm not playing. They have to keep their chins up.
That's right. Tell Ollie hi for me.
I'm not. I am not even going to acknowledge that you exist. No. You do it. You want to talk to him, you do it. Leave the man alone.
Diving into the studio.
We'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We've got more fun with you. It's a Wednesday, so we are going to talk to Scott McFarland.
That's right.
He'll be on the show tomorrow. What else do we know?
John Rooney.
And
members of the St. Louis Aquarium to talk about sharks.
Shark Week continues, so we'll talk sharks tomorrow. Be back at 9. And if you missed anything on this show today, you know where to find it, KMOX.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Find the Chris and Amy Show. All of it is there for you. See you tomorrow at 9. Gas House Gang next on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Birds are stupid. They're stupid.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money.